third year physics major, and my interest in physics is usually about optics, which is the study of light. But I usually like to talk about physics in your everyday life. So today I'm going to combine those two together. What a treat, right? So what I'm going to talk about is the two things that all of us have to experience. 不变, you cannot run away. Night and day. Okay? So let's talk about the day first, right? And the day is very nice. This is your Windows XP desktop, very nice, right? Then you walk out and you're like, the sky is very blue. But why is it blue, right? And then when the sun sets, then the sky suddenly turns like a bit reddish, right? That's a bit weird if you think about it. But we need to ask ourselves the first question is that, why does the sky even have a color? Okay? So let's look at the sky from the moon. Yeah? Turns out it's very black. Why? It's because the moon has barely any atmosphere. Or rather, we don't have any particles in the air. So that's actually how our blueness of the sky comes about. It's because our atmosphere has a lot of particles that are of the correct size. Yeah? Before I get to that, we must talk about color. Yeah? So what is color? It's actually like this apple here. You see it's very green, right? What gives it its greenness is that when you shine light onto it, it happens to have a tendency to radiate out the green light back. That's just part one of the story. But that tendency is what we know as scattering. So keep that in mind, the word scattering, okay? So, just so happens for the molecules and the particles in the air, they happen to scatter light. They are at a shorter wavelength. And this is actually the visible light spectrum. And you see that blue is near the short part, 500-ish, actually no, 400-ish. So that's actually quite short. And the air particles tend to scatter blue more than red. Yeah? So this is why when we see the sky like this, you see that away from the sun, it's very blue and it gets bluer, right? And towards the center, it's not that much. It's because the light ray from the sun shines directly at us, and the blue light gets scattered and it deflects away. So when we look away from the beam, it looks blue. But directly, it looks sort of yellowish because there's no more blue, right? Then you might ask yourself, why is it not violet? Violet is a shorter wavelength, right? There's two answers. Physically, the sun doesn't radiate out that much violet light compared to blue light. And biologically, our eyes just aren't that receptive to violet light. So to us, it looks blue, and that's okay. We are used to that already, right? Then we need to ask ourselves, sunset. Sky turns red, very nice. Why does it turn red is for the almost opposite reason. It's about how much atmosphere the light has to come through. Okay? When it comes through, and then you have to go through a lot of water vapor, you have to go through a lot of dust, right? And here, something happens called absorption. The second part to why things have color. So the reason why it looks green and not any other color is because every other color comes in and gets absorbed. Yeah? So basically, what gives our sky that color is based on how much the light has to travel through the atmosphere to reach us. Far enough, we'll see red because the blue gets deflected away by scattering. When it's noon, when the sun is just right above us, we see the deflection, which is blue. So that's how we get all the different colors. And so we solved the problem of the day. Now comes nighttime. And then at night it turns dark, right? To us it's very normal because we turn away from the sun. So yeah, why not? It should turn dark. But if you're Heinrich Olber, you will ask yourself, why did it turn dark? You'll be freaking out right now. And the reason why it shouldn't be dark, we need to think about that for a while. So let's think about how many stars there are in the sky. Anybody got any answers? No, right, very good, 8+. That's because I also don't have an answer. There's too many. And there's no reason why a star should be anywhere. It's just really just scattered everywhere. So no matter where you look, there should be just as many stars as the other direction. And if all these stars are radiating light, and light doesn't get absorbed because space is more or less a vacuum, right? All these lights should come to us eventually. All of them. The sky should look like this because they just keep coming, right? So what's the problem? We should see the night just as bright as the day, just that we don't have a thick ball there. Yeah? So what's going on? What happens to all this light? First, we must think about what visible means. Just now in the EM spectrum, there was this visible light, right? Beyond that or below that, the light is not visible. So if you see the sky with an infrared camera, this is how it looks like. It's quite bright, right? So we can hypothesize here that somehow the visible light became invisible and became the infrared spectrum. And to get to that, let's look at the EM spectrum for a while. You see that infrared is just to the side of visible, right? And here, the wavelength sort of stretches out. So to go along with this hypothesis, in order for visible light to become infrared, we must somehow stretch the wavelength. Seems pretty impossible, right? Let's think about the cosmology for a while. So let's think of the universe as a balloon. This is our universe at the start. This is our universe at the middle. And you see that galaxies sort of spread apart as this balloon expands, right? So if we think of the universe as something that can expand, all your galaxies sort of just spread apart. With those that are further, like the blue ones, spreading further away. So what's going on about this increase in length? Let's think about how we measure length in the first place, a ruler. If I can fit a ruler between here and this table, we say it's 1 meter, right? And later on, if the space expands, the ruler will still fit exactly. So we still think it's 1 meter. Problem is, everything expands, even the ruler expanded as well. So while it's still 1 meter, we measure it's 1 meter, it's no longer 1 meter anymore. Now let's scale up to the universe. We are Earth, the star is all the way there like the lamp. So the distance is roughly the same, right? We will always measure it to be the same. But what's going on? The space is actually expanding, yeah? And even anything in between the space will be expanding. So let's think back, what is that thing? It's light actually. The light from the star comes to Earth, and it takes a while, right? Because for a star that's very far away, it takes like a few thousand years to reach us. And in that time, the universe actually expanded. And in that expansion, the wavelength actually gets pulled apart. And it shifts to the red side, right? So that's what we call a red shift. And eventually it comes to us more red than it is. Yeah? So that's actually the solution to the riddle why the sky is dark even though it shouldn't be dark. And how we got here is because of Hubble, Edwin Hubble. He discovered this property called Hubble's law. And that's why we have a telescope named after him right now. Very important, very short. You'll see the images. Wow, 2 GB. Wow. Okay, so that's all for my presentation. This is optics in life. Hopefully part 1, maybe there will be more, who knows. So when you go out and you see the sky, right, no matter night or day, I hope that you'll be able to see the light.